Welcome back, everybody. So today we had some dev streams and I took the time to watch them all and point out all the interesting facts. Let's make some nice fast videos about what we can expect in 1.103 new power. And then hopefully after this video goes up, we can see the live dev server and I'll be sure to stream that. But this comes from the developer streams on the Gaijin official channels. We learned quite a few things that are coming, starting with the United States. They're getting a tank that everyone is anticipating very much, the M1128 Striker MGS, which is a really cool mobile gun system for United States on a wheeled chassis. As you could probably assume, it does not have a whole lot of armor, but it does have a chicken coop around it to keep the chickens in and keep the foxes out. Similar to other wheeled vehicles, the actual interest of this vehicle is its firepower. It has a 105mm cannon with a trick up its sleeve, M900, which can penetrate at 0 degrees and 10 meters, 522mm. However, at 500 meters, 513, with a very nice velocity of 1,500 meters per second, making this vehicle obviously a really good sniping tank. Think of it as like a high-tier Hellcat, able to get to locations really fast thanks to its lightly armored wheeled chassis, especially on roads, and then able to snipe at long distances. But what makes me really interested in this is the fact that the turret is actually unmanned. So in theory, you could position yourself behind a hill to the point where you actually can't lose any crew members. Sure, they could shoot the turret, but you just drive away and repair. This thing looks so cool. I remember driving these around in Battlefield 3 Armored Kill expansion. Those are some good times. I'm looking very much forward to this thing added to the game. Probably gonna be the light tank line, maybe the tank destroyer line though. But let's not dwell on that too much because there's other vehicles beating out the United States. We got some big old ships, the USS North Dakota, a very old school battleship armed with 5 double turrets of 12-inch guns. Very destructive firepower, but this battleship and just about all the other ones are around 6.0 in the battle range scale, but have almost no anti-air. Like this one, you have some 3-inch and 5-inch guns to hope to protect yourself. And I don't even think they actually can elevate that high because they're intended to shoot down torpedo boats and the such. So you have to think, a boat, a large target that cannot defend itself against aircraft up to 6.0. What kind of aircraft do we have at 6.0? Let's take a quick look. For the United States, there is the AD-4, which can take out a lot of rockets and bombs. However, I don't think it's necessarily enough to sink a whole battleship. We're gonna have to wait and see. At 5.7, there is the AU-1, which can take essentially a B-17's armament under it and drop it all on one target. But what really has me worried is things like the Arado, which is 6.3, so it technically can't face it because I don't think you can take 6.3 aircraft into a 6.0 naval match, but only 3 away is not very far, and the Arado could definitely do a lot of destructive damage to a naval vessel that literally cannot defend itself against aircraft. So these major boats, all of them, all the new major World War I ships that don't have anti-air armaments, is going to be a really interesting gameplay effect. Perhaps the cruisers are going to have to be their air cover for them. Speaking of which, the United States is also getting a new cruiser, the USS New Orleans, with a battle rating of 5.7. Perhaps this could be the perfect anti-air cover for the North Dakota. However, its armament doesn't stray too far off from the Portland class. The final thing for the United States, something that many people have been asking for quite some time, is a modern aircraft carrier. In fact, all nations kind of got a modern aircraft carrier, well, at least the important ones. But I can report to say that the one for the United States, the catapult does seem to work. Next up, we have Germany, and you know what I'm gonna talk about. You already know. You're just that interested, man. Leopard 2A6. We got to see it. It looks very nice. Coming to you concerningly at 10.7 with DM53, able to penetrate at 10 meters, 0 degrees, 634mm of armor, and at 500 meters, 622. Essentially, this is just a better Leo 2A5. Armor apparently is around the same, it just has a much longer and nicer gun. However, hold your horses real quick because you still have to start with Heat FS, and then an upgrade shell of DM33, and then finally you can get the new fancy shell. However, a Leo with a slightly longer barrel is not the only thing that the Germans are getting. It was not shown, but it was seen in a lineup, a Leo 1A5, and was not seen to be a premium, coming into 9.0. I'm assuming it's just going to be a Leo 1A1 with slightly different turret composition. The third ground vehicle confirmed for the Germans to be getting is the Euro truck, or whatever it's called in German.
Die Flugabwehrraketensystem Roland auf Radkraftfahrzeug.
I'm not saying that. The notable factors about it is that it's big. It's really big. The missiles are really fast, and they didn't actually hit anything in it on the stream, so like it works, I guess. Hopefully. They're also getting one boat, the SMS Westfalen, a First World War German battleship with actually a very light anti-air. Seem to have some machine guns. Also coming to at 6.0. The addition of this thing just really makes me wish they could add some bizarre World War I aircraft and tanks. There was a few tanks there, and I really love to see them in-game, even if it's just for a silly event. My god, I would love that. And the K-Wagon probably could put like 1.3 or something. It had some pretty thick armor and cannons. Onto the Soviet Union, which kind of isn't the Soviet Union, kind of, but whatever. Their new tank, we all know it, T-90A, coming to you at 10.7, armed with 3BM-42M, capable of penetrating at 0 degrees at 10 meters, 526 millimeters, but at 500 meters, 517 millimeters. Not the most, but it will definitely get the job done for most targets. What I'm actually most interested in is that the APS system actually works. They showed on stream it throw off tow missiles at a pretty close range. However, it was noted that it does not work against all ATGMs. It does work against tow missiles, but things like Hellfires, you're going to be out of luck. But I wonder if this is going to lead to some hard kill APS systems added in game. They are also getting, of course, the MiG-21 BIS, which is seen to have a crazy flight model able to break the sound barrier in a 30-degree climb and could carry 6 air-to-air missiles. All this and only being 10.7. And it all sounds amazing and cool, but there's one interesting thing happened when they showed the cockpit. Those who are experienced in flying the MiG-21 in other games had noticed that there was a module that was there only for 2 settings, either flares or launching nukes. However, it was promptly stated on the dev blog of the MiG-21 BIS that it has no countermeasures. So the practical application of this panel has been thrown out. Why did they add this to the cockpit? Now you'd be thinking, oh, maybe it's because it looked cool, but if they wanted to make it look cool, there's other modules they could have added that weren't the launch nukes module. I'm gonna leave it up to you. Why do you think they left the launch nukes panel into the MiG-21 cockpit? Of all the things to add, why that one? And while speaking about new cockpits, the Ka-50 has a new cockpit. It looks very nice. There's not a whole lot else to say about it. And while speaking about helicopters, there is a new aircraft carrier for when you test drive the Ka-29. It's a Kiev-class aircraft carrier. It seems exclusively for helicopters. I wonder if this will make its way into any battles. But let's get on to Great Britain. They're getting a new jet, the Harrier GR1, which is coming into you as a premium at 9.7, capable of carrying bombs, rockets, and 4 ARAAMs. The VTOL control is completely modeled, able to take off vertically as you wish, and land if you're good at it, though you do need to set up more keybinds. And don't get too disappointed that it's a premium. There was said that a research tree version as well as other VTOL jets were to come, though it did not say if it was going to be this patch or the next. Final note about the Harrier is when you test drive it, it spawns on a nice modern British aircraft carrier, which you can indeed damage and has effects to it. Apparently they also have a really nice sinking animation, but they did not show that. Now while they were showing off the Harrier, we spotted in the lineup the VFM5. We did not see any other details about it, but apparently it's going to be 9.3. And finally for the British is the HMS Dreadnought, a very nice looking ship with a battle rating of 6.0 and no anti-air like the others. Now of course Japan was not left out of this. They're also getting a new jet, the F1, coming at 9.7. Seems to be a more tactical version of the T2. Of course the T2 is just a trainer version of this, so their stats are rather the same. However, this one seems to have a bit more ordnance, but is armed only with AIM-9Es. But overall, it's nice to have Japan get a jet they had designed themselves. Japan had also received 2 new ships, the IJN Ikuma, coming at 5.7, which had no anti-air. But man, the design of these Dreadnought era battleships just looks so cool. Makes it so I just cannot wait for the French Navy, because they had some of the weirdest looking battleships. Japan also received a second battleship, the IJN Setsu, at 6.0, and also had no or really bad anti-air. I'm sure you could shoot down some planes with some of these casemate guns, but honestly, I don't think it's gonna happen. But they really are as resilient to bombs as they seem to be implying, and that could lead to some pretty fun custom battles. Next on the list, China is not being left empty-handed. They are getting the PTZ-89, as I predicted. You know, there's some people who are saying, no, that image is probably fake. Come on, guys. This Object 120 looking Chinese tank is gonna be fantastic. Coming to you at 8.7, able to penetrate 473 millimeters at 10 meters and 436 at 500 meters. It's definitely going to be a very sought after tank. Although do be noted, it did not seem to have a stabilizer just like the Object 120, but I'm sure you'll be able to make do without, as sniping does not often require a whole lot of running around. But that's not all for China. They're also getting a new jet, the Q5AB at 10.0. This is just like the regular Q5 we currently have in Tree, but oh my god, does it have a whole lot more rockets. Though they did not fly it out, unfortunately, as apparently was not entirely ready. ready, only one of the afterburners was functioning. On to Italy, getting finally, after a long while, a tank that many people have been looking forward to, the Cerle Siciliano, which I believe translates to Fast Saharan, which is essentially an Italian copy of the Crusader tank of the British. This vehicle is being added at 2.3 as a premium, and my god, is it flat. It looks like a P40 that somebody stepped on. Personally, I kind of love it. Would like it in the regular tree, but I could understand why it's a premium. It was a bizarre prototype. The cannon did not seem the greatest in the world. However, it was able to somehow one-shot a Matilda. Now, while they were showing off this Italian Crusader, there was two other vehicles for the Italians spotted in the lineup that they did not talk about or show. One was a Leopard 1A5 at 9.0, which we can assume is like the German Leo 1A5, and would make sense to find its way into the Italian tree. The Italians did use it. Now, it's not labeled a premium, so I assume it's coming in the regular line, which I don't think is entirely necessary, but alright, they did use it, so it's not the biggest deal in the world. Other one was a little bit more interesting, the FC-20 BIS. At 2.0, Wikipedia claims it is a ground attacker armed with a 37mm cannon and two 50 cals in the wing roots, as well as one 50 cal in a dorsal turret. They unfortunately did not show this, but it did seem pretty interesting. Now, France was also not left with a short stick. I forgot to keep track of their little tractor thing that got a dev blog. I don't think people are going to be worried too much. They are now getting a Leclerc S2. Now, no details about the Leclerc S2 were shown, like ammunition and other aspects, just a fact that it's coming. But also, the AMX-30 B2 Bingus is getting APS. Apparently, it's always had it, but now it's actually going to function in-game. Apparently, it's very similar to the one on the T90. So probably works similar, however, only has one IR Dazzler, or however it works. But it may actually be more useful on the Bingus than the T90, as the Bingus is only 8.7. There's a whole lot more ATGMs flying around there than there are at 10.7. But that and the ERA, this thing's going to be an ATGM's worst nightmare. Now, last but not least is Sweden getting the SK-60B, which is a trainer aircraft also used as a ground attacker capable of carrying bombs, rockets, and even Swedish equivalent to bullpups. Now, unfortunately, they didn't show it in the hangar, so I couldn't pick up the battle rating, but it wasn't very fast. Probably going to be around 9 something, maybe 8.7. Now, when they're talking about it, there's a funny bit where Mike Goes Boom was talking about a SK-105 he was hinting towards. However, that is a Austrian light tank based off the AMX-13. I think he's referring to the SK-60's other name, SAB-105. But it seems we're probably going to get other variants of the SK-60 in-game, perhaps under a different name. Now, that was the only new vehicle for Sweden that I could pick up on, kind of. There was also a moment in which they're showing off flares and night battles, because there's flares and night battles now, so people who don't have night vision or thermals can drive around without being completely blind. Mike was in the Leo 2A6, while Tom was in something called the STRV 122B PLSS. But the current STRV 122 is only that. It's not the B version. And what does PLSS mean besides purposely misspelled please? Maybe that's a new tank. Maybe they're updating the name of a tank. I'm not sure. So you're going to have to tell me what you think on that one. And that was just about all the vehicles that they showed off. Now they also showed off quite a few other things. A lot of effects are changing because the engine is being updated, and some pretty cool gameplay changes are also happening. The first off one is that the hangar is being updated and now is dynamic. You can see planes and tanks drive around in the background, which is really cool. There's people hanging around, so it's not a ghost town. The tanks that you have in your lineup will appear in garages behind the tank that you're currently viewing, which is a really nice detail. The time of day in the hangar will change, and it'll even be night sometimes, and then they have some lights on the ground and whatnot to illuminate the place. It looks real nice. One detail I very much did not like is they now have a setting where a premium will be displayed behind the vehicle that you're currently viewing, so you can be constantly advertised to about some premium that you could buy. And a neat effect is that the premium being displayed will match whatever rank you're at. It won't always be showing you a top tier premium. If you're like mid tiers, it'll show you a mid tier premium. Kind of cool. Oddly enough, at one point for Marco's Boom, it was displaying the Canadian Leo that was added as an event vehicle, which can only be bought on the marketplace. Having marketplace premiums constantly advertised to you is only annoying because they commonly are for ridiculous prices, in which most people won't actually go for. It would be cooler if whatever vehicle you're currently researching appeared on that trailer, so you can look forward to the things that you're trying to get. Next one up, can't really put detail with the words. It's more of a visual. With more visual effects, the clouds of Rand, man, do they look so nice. Can't really explain it to you, so you're just gonna have to look and see. Some unfortunate factors, though, is that there's no rainbows. Definitely something that Gaijin should look into adding sometime in the future. Would also be cool if there's like a big storm cloud, have some like lightning bolts going on in it, and maybe every once in a while one will strike your plane and turn the engine off or something. That would be cool. And of course, with the weather effects, they're also also some cool visual effects for aircraft. When they catch on fire, it looks amazing. They also improved crashing, making, of course, the fire much more bright, but the plane's on fire a bit more, and it can skid across the ground a little bit. Also, bizarrely enough, Mike Goes Boom seems to laugh in French. For ground forces, there are also a few visual changes. For when the tank's alive, if your shell fails to penetrate, it'll actually get stuck into the enemy tank, and it can look pretty cool. Now, when you do finally kill them, you'll notice a few other features. For example, there will be a hole in the tank when the corpse is flaming. A very nice small attention to detail. But these two things are not details. Apparently, the dead corpses of the tanks are going to stick around with us. However, they can be dragged about. This could lead to some pretty interesting gameplay effects. For example, blocking a alleyway with your dead body to stop enemy forces from moving down there. Or maybe you could drag your friend's dead corpse around, be used as some sort of spaced armor. A final effect, they added DSLL. I don't know what that is, but it sounds fancy and it probably makes the game look good. So congrats. And yes, my Deuterinos, that is everything they showed off in the dev streams for 1.103 new power. Now, as of this recording, I'm still anticipating the dev server to be open tomorrow, or maybe today, depending on how fast I can get this video uploaded. I don't want to extend this video any longer than it needs to be, so a quick shout out to my patrons and YouTube members. You guys are heroes among men. If you'd like to join them, you can hit the join button or the Patreon link down below. If you do, you get access to a whole lot of stuff. It should be all described to you. Now, if you have any comments, concerns, or questions about this video, be sure to hit me up down below or my Discord. If you liked the video, be sure to hit the like button. If you didn't like the Discord, don't hit the like button. If you want to see more, hit the subscribe button. I make War Thunder looking news videos every Friday, make random reviews for the week, and I like to stream on Saturdays. Next stream is likely to be a dev server stream, so be sure to tune in that one. Hit the bell icon to be notified when I go live and when I upload anything at all. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a fantastic day. In the terms of bonus news, Mochi APFSDS has reached 1,000 subscribers, so be sure to go over there and give him some love. He makes some fantastic videos showcasing some of the very top tier vehicles and low tier ones too. Man, I wish I could play as good as he does.